What's going on, guys? This is me, Rodent Fan 1956 here, coming at you guys with episode 2 of the Godzilla Gameathon series. I really appreciate the support we got on episode 1, and I'm once again joined by my good friend here, Vulturu. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the Nintendo era of Godzilla games. So, from the black and the non-colored Game Boys to the NES to the SNES. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be reviewing today. Most of these games came out early to mid '90s. So, what do you guys say, Vulture? Welcome back. I'm glad to have you back here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back here again. I mean, last time was pretty fun, so I'm sure I'm gonna have a great time this time.
Well, yeah, some of these games were not as good as the last one, but let's get started with our first one. All right, so the first game we have here is the God. Is it like the Gojira-kun game? But this is the Game Boy version of it. So it's basically literally the same thing as Gojira-kun, except the designs are a little different. I even noticed the levels are really the same. So honestly, for this first game, there isn't a lot to say because we're pretty much talking about the same game here. I mean, it's the same thing as Gojira-kun. Design. It looks. I think the textures look a little cleaner. Other than that, though, Godzilla looks a little different. But really, again, this game's the same thing as Gojira-kun. So what I said for that game really applies here. I'm not too fond of this style. Again, I don't. I'm not a big fan of these puzzle game styles. So once again, not really much to say because it's literally the same thing. This is just an imported version of the Gojira Good game, which is an MSX game, which we reviewed last episode. So I'm sure we all remember my thoughts on this game. I was not a big fan of it. You got uh anything else to say, Vulture?
Yeah, not really. The game was pretty much the exact same thing as last time, other than the fact that it had some character design changes, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Godzilla looks a little different. Hedorah looks a little different, but other than that, not much else to say. Still not a fun game. So yeah, that's it. I think I gave it a 6 out of 10. This one, I'll give it a 6.5 because it looks slightly better. So yeah, that's it for this one. All right, so the next game we have here is Godzilla 2 War of the Monsters. So if you guys remember the last episode we reviewed, Godzilla Monster of Monsters, this is the sequel to that game. And it's actually very odd that this game is considered the sequel to Godzilla Monster of Monsters because when we actually look at it, this game plays nothing alike Godzilla Monster of Monsters. So what this game plays like, it's more of a strategy game mixed in with some like slot machine mechanics into it. So basically, you're playing as a military trying to defend the areas from a variety of monsters, Godzilla included. I think there's Baragon and one other monster. You have your jets and your tanks, and I think some anti-air, if I'm mistaken. Um, and basically, how it works is you basically move it like a chessboard, and then when you get engaged with a monster, it brings up this like slot machine style of fighting. Now, me personally, this is honestly my least favorite Godzilla game I've ever played of all time, below Gojira-kun. Um, and here's why. The game is very confusing. They do not explain to you anything. They just have you hop in. They don't explain to you how the slot machine works. It's basically entirely on luck, but I don't know what any of the combinations do at all. Obviously, you'd assume if you get three of the same, you do like the most damage or something, but again, I don't know what any of the features do on the slot machine, and I honestly don't even I just did not understand the game at all. They just plot you into the game and expect you to understand what you're doing, but I was find myself incredibly confused. This is a very frustrated game. I tried playing it back in the day on our Let's Play, and I rage quit after the first video. The game is incredibly frustrating, and it's not even a well-received game around other channels. I watch other reviews of this game, and this is honestly rated as often the worst Godzilla game of all time. So I know you kind of like this game. So what did you like about this game?
I thought it was actually pretty fun. I mean, the one thing I didn't like was any attack that you would do was pretty much useless. Like the damage was very low. Also, as you said, the slots, I had no idea what they did. So even if I did get one, which I didn't, but if I were to get one, I have no clue what to even do. Plus, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be defending because I see all these like little yellow squares in the screen and buildings and whatnot, but I'm not sure what I'm even supposed to be doing, and most of the stuff barely did any damage, so I felt like I was pretty much unproductive. Either way, I like the idea of the game, right? And I think that slot machine idea was actually pretty cool too, but I don't know, it was just poorly executed for this game.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Like I actually like some Godzilla games where you do play as a military, and I kind of understood what they were going with here. Like, I think the idea is not terrible. I think this idea could work, hey, maybe as a mobile game, but when you don't explain to somebody it correctly, the execution was awful, like you said. Like, it's a very confusing game. It just doesn't come out as a very good experience overall. So, I would give this game honestly like a 2 out of 10, maybe even a 1 out of 10. Overall, awful game. I Again, like you said, you don't do a lot of damage. I have no clue what I'm supposed to defend, what Godzilla's destroying, and I have like no clue what the slot machine does. I'm just clueless with this shit. So one out like 1 or 2 out of 10 for me.
I'd give this game a 5 out of 10. Honestly, it's not bad. The art is actually pretty cool too, so I'm gonna have to give it that.
Yeah, especially for its time. But
All
all right,
right.
next game. Okay. So, the third game we have here is Super Godzilla. This was the first ever Godzilla game released on the Super Nintendo. And basically, this game is kind of an interesting game, I must say. It's actually a very unique game. So, how the game works is you are controlling Godzilla and you're walking around a city, going through buildings, and getting shot at tanks while trying to find an enemy. The enemy pops up as a purple dot on your little map, which is below you. On the top, you have Godzilla. Throughout the game, you can pick up some power ups and everything, but I felt the most interesting part of the game is actually the fighting itself. Now, this game does not play like your standard fighter. We'll get into that later. We actually do have a fighting game that we'll show you guys. More so, I've never actually seen a fighting game play this way. So, the goal, when you first go into a fight, the first boss is King Ghidorah. How the fighting works is you basically go up to your opponent and you punch him, and how they describe it is fighting spirit. So the fighting spirit will be your meter, and when you move back, your fighting spirit will start to increase, which allows you to do more powerful attack. So you have with the Godzilla, you have a headbutt attack, a tail attack, and a beam attack, depending on how far back you move, and they'll pop up in a little window. The farther back you move, the better attack you can have because you have a higher fighting spirit. Overall, honestly, this is one of the most unique games I've ever played. I've actually never seen a game have this fighting style. Again, it does not play like your traditional fighting game. There's no combos really. It's just you land an attack and you move back. I also like the cast of monsters. I also like that they added a new monster called Bagan in this game, and you get to unlock Super Godzilla when you reach Bagan. Now, I've never reached Super Godzilla myself because this is a very difficult game, but overall, a very fun experience of the game. So, I want to hear your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I played it a bit myself, and honestly, I really like the one thing that stood out to me the most, right? So you can see it's just like this little blue ball that travels around the map and whatnot, and you just do things like here and there and get energy to replenish health and whatnot. But what I think I liked the most was at the very top, there's actually an animation screen, right? And it always shows Godzilla either walking or going through buildings or fighting. But the nice thing is, it was almost like a 360-degree view. So if I was going up, you'd see the back. If I was going down, you'd see the front, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that that was something that was really interesting. And it looked really cool. And I think it was probably one of the only games that really have something like that. And like playing this game was actually pretty fun. I wish I could have played it more. And I didn't really understand because some reason there was like many places that were like out of my range, which is kind of annoying. But either way, I definitely enjoyed playing the game. Like it was really fun. And I wasn't able to get into any boss battles, but I'm sure if I did, I would enjoy that too.
Yeah, the fighting's very confusing when you first start, but I don't know if you notice, on the bottom it does show you how far you are from your enemy. There's a little meter that shows you how far you are from your enemy, telling you the way to go. But other than that, very fun game. Honestly, I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. I would definitely like to maybe see a remaster of this game, see what they could do now. I wouldn't mind that because I really like the fighting style. Maybe it's a little outdated for some people, but me personally, I'm actually a fan of the fighting style.
So the next game we have here is Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, both Rodan fan and I played this game, and let me tell you something. This is the most piece of shit game you're ever gonna play. Okay, first of all, you are stuck in the bottom left corner in the 1/4 of the screen. You cannot even go higher than halfway up the screen. Then there is like two animations for fighting, which barely do any damage or anything at all. Half the time when you're attacking, you just end up hurting yourself, which doesn't make sense. And there's so many enemies that you can't even move. I've actually died so many times that I couldn't even play the game. The controls were completely messed up. I don't know how it was when it was like first released on the little game pads, but I'm sure it was just as bad. And it was a terrible game because seeing the reviews on this game, it had like 1.5 stars when I searched it up later on. So I could tell people hated it because I know I definitely hated it. The audio, oh my god, I had to turn down my volume. It was super loud that it literally hurt my ears. And playing this game was terrible. Like everything about it was just bad. Even the art would randomly glitch and half the screen would be frozen while the other half was moving. That's how broken the game was. So for this game, I'm giving it a 0 out of 10. I think this is the worst game I've ever played.
I can't disagree with anything you just said. Straight up, this is a piece of shit game. This game is honestly, I don't even know where to get started. Let me say my issue with this game. My attacks, I don't even feel like I'm doing damage. Sometimes I'm hitting a bow. You'll see in the gameplay, I'm physically punching the bow, and I feel like I'm not hitting it. It's like my attacks are clipping through it. You're constantly getting bombarded, and I try using my atomic breath, but I don't know when my atomic breath is out. I don't know if it's because I thought that thing was a health bar, so I don't know when I'm out of my atomic breath. I try using to get rid of the helicopters, and I can't because guess what? Oh, I'm out of my atomic breath, so I can't attack the boats. Like Vulture said, you can't go up for some reason. So there's actually enemies that are too far up for you to punch. So you have to use your atomic breath, but guess what? You don't know when it's going to recharge, so you have to keep moving on while you're getting attacked. Guess what? You're already on low health, and here you are fighting Ebera, the crab, and here I am dying to the crab because I didn't have enough health because I keep getting bombarded and I don't have the enough atomic breath to keep attacking everything that is bombarding me. This game is a hunk of shit. It just throws you in, doesn't tell me anything. There is no knowledge going into it. All I know is I have a punch attack and an atomic breath, and I'm just stuck in one area. I can't even go up to attack some enemies. Why is that a thing? Why are there enemies? I see them too. They're not. This boat is not very far from me, but I can't go up to attack it. It's like, why is this a thing? I understand it's a Game Boy. This system doesn't even have color. Okay, maybe I can give it a little break, but that doesn't excuse shitty game design. This game is a hunk of shit. I really have no clue what they were thinking when they developed this game. The only cool thing is there's apparently a variety of monsters. I saw Batra was in this game, and he's not in many Godzilla games. Other than that, complete garbage piece of shit game. I don't know how people used to play this game back then. Complete and utter dog shit. I have no words for this. This is unexcusable. I don't care if it's on the Game Boy. It doesn't excuse shitty game design. Alright, so our last Nintendo Godzilla game is Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, which was released for the Super Famicom, which is just a Japanese Super Nintendo. And this is once again another hunk of shit, piece of shit, disgraceful, disgusting game that should have never been released. Once again, we have another example of a game that throws you in explaining nothing to you. I played this game. This is not my first time. I played this game multiple times before, and once again, I'm having these same issues that I had in the last game. I have no clue what the fuck I'm doing. I understand it's a fighting game, but I don't know any of the moves. I don't know if there's combos in this game. I don't know use my atomic breath. The AI is completely broken. They predict all of my moves perfectly. They can dodge perfectly. They block at every moment they can. And here I am just spamming my moves. There's a blue meter, which I'm sure you guys are noticing. I have no clue what the blue meter does. I'm assuming it's your like atomic breath or special. But okay, how do I use it? I was never taught. Is it two buttons? Is it one button? I have no fucking clue. See, with modern fighting games, when I first load up Mortal Kombat, there's a training level. There's a tutorial level to teach you how to get into the fighting, all the extra things you need to know. This game, once again, throws you into the match. No previous knowledge of this game, nothing. And just expects you to know what to do. And I don't, so I'm just mashing buttons, obviously. And of course, if you've ever played a fighting game seriously, if you mash buttons, you're most of the time going to get destroyed, unless it's a broken piece of shit game. The AI is also incredibly broken in this game. I mean, any video game that the AI can perfectly predict your moves, block your moves, and dodge your moves is just a terrible fighting experience. And it's just not, again, it's just awful experience. This is one of the worst fighting games I've ever played. It's the same reason why most of these games, honestly, have been let down compared to last system, but this is just terrible. I thought, honestly, a Godzilla fighting game like this, a retro-style Godzilla fighting game would honestly be fun, but when you have broken AI, no tutorial, nothing, no explanation, no nothing of the game, and I'm just button mashing, it turns out to be a pretty shithole experience. So I'm giving this game a 3.5 out of 10. Awful experience. Maybe if I had a clue of what I was doing, I'd actually give it a higher rating, but I'm sorry, this game does not get a pass.
So I didn't play the game, but watching the gameplays pretty much explains everything for me because I can see how you're struggling entirely against the enemy. Like literally every time you're hitting, he's blocking, and literally every time you just like move or you stop attacking, he's just like destroying
Spamming
you with
you.
attacks,
Yep.
spamming you. And there's nothing you can do about it. I see you just getting destroyed over and over again. And I know what you mean, like with the superpower thing. I don't know how to use that. As you can see, there's like when you load up the game, there's no instructions on like how to play or what even the buttons are, like the keybinds. So it doesn't tell you much, which is really dumb. But either way, I haven't really played the game. The art is nice, I guess, but still, I'm gonna have to give this a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I like the art. I like the overall design of the game. The game itself does actually not look terrible, especially for a Super Nintendo game. I actually do like the art design, but overall, again, I'm not gonna give this game a pass. Because Super Nintendo, I think, has some solid games. You just saw Super Godzilla being a relatively fun experience, and to play this game, it's just incredibly frustrating. This game, overall, disappointing game. Any fighting game where the bot is ready to perfectly predict any all of your moves is just not a good experience to me. So 3 out of 10. I'm never playing this game again. There's a lot of these games I never even do for Let's Play, so don't ask me to ever play these games on my channel. All right, well, guys, that's gonna do it for us today. I hope you guys did enjoy episode 2. Next episode will be wrapping up the 90s, kind of getting to the 3D era of Godzilla gaming. And then after that, we have the more recent Godzilla games you may have recognized, the Atari games, but I don't want to spoil anything too much. But so yeah, that was the Nintendo era of Godzilla gaming. Overall, most of these games were kind of a letdown compared to last episode. I actually enjoyed some of those games, the Godzilla Monsters, especially. I really enjoyed that one. So to see the Nintendo Godzilla games be really disappointing, outside of really Super Godzilla, most of these games are honestly forgettable or just flat out terrible, like the last two. Once again, as always, link in the description to my good friend Vulture. I appreciate your help a lot, man, for this series. It's been a lot of fun, so please check him out. He does COD videos, commentary videos, stuff like that, and he's doing great things on there. So please check him out. Link in the description. You got any closing thoughts?
Well, we did see a variety of games, some good, some bad, but not a bad episode. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So see you guys in the next video. Again, we will be getting into the wrapping up of the 90s era of Godzilla gaming. So see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.